you noticed that the percentage of women in the C-suite is sharply lesser than the number of women employees? Wondered why? It is not so much about the efficiency or lack of talent in women, but its impending motherhood and the inability to balance work and home that pushes women away from pursuing their career goals. A few years' break not only puts them off track from their career progression, but also makes their skills outdated and invalid. What can women do to get back to work? How can they upskill and reskill to find their dream jobs? Let's meet a woman who has been there, done that. She learned exactly what it takes to go from 0 to 1 to a million. Welcome to Content Ed. Content Ed, Clearly Blue's podcast, is about all things content, whether in marketing or sales, education or professional development, leadership or team building. We bring to focus the importance of content in defining a business, success and failure. This is an effort to build stories of products, services, brands and the people behind them. Our first episode kicks off with Neha Beccaria, the founder and CEO of JobsForHer, an online portal to enable women to start, restart, and rise in their careers by connecting them with jobs, reskilling, mentors, community, and inspiration. Content Ed is proud to have her as our first guest.
Neha, thank you so much for joining us here today on Content Ed. It's a real pleasure to have you.
Pleasure's all mine.
A graduate from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, Neha's first venture, Paragon, helped prepare students who sought admission to US colleges through an advanced placement program. Having taken a 3.5-year break in her own career to raise her kids, she was well acquainted with breaking out of the brain coma and the challenges a woman faces in order to re-enter the workforce. This motivated her to help other women achieve their potential and founded JobsForHer.com on the International Women's Day 2015. After all, we can't afford to lose out on the great talent pool of qualified and ambitious women out there.
I heard that you actually founded JobsForHer. There was an epiphany when you were on a sabbatical.
Yes.
Can you just talk about that?
Sure.
Story? Yeah.
Sure. So the moment,
Moment.
Somebody was asking, but what was that moment? For me, actually, that moment was like so we were attending a family wedding in Bali, and I had my 3.5-year-old and my 6-month-old in tow with me. It was a red-eye flight. We landed there. We were jet-lagged, cranky. And we went for the first dinner, and my 3.5-year-old threw a tantrum, because he was 3.5 years old.
Yeah.
But for me, that was a really big deal. I overreacted. And when I later on looked back at it, I realized that I had placed the burden of all of my ambitions and expectations on their little shoulders. It was almost like, since this was the product of my full-time work, it better be perfect.
Correct.
And to place that burden on those little shoulders was really unfair. And actually, it was that moment that made me realize that, hey, I mean, it's going to be terrible for my kids if I don't find my own path, because they have to find their own path. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. So Bali, the beach, and Bali.
Right. Yes.
Gave birth to JobsForHer.
Absolutely, that's very true. In fact, it was it was really strange, because I think 2 years back from that day, I was in Bali again for a holiday, and while I was in Bali, Forbes carried out an article about JobsForHer. So for me, for me, it was like, my God, I was here 2 years ago in such a different stage and phase of my life. And now this is where JobsForHer has brought me.
Very good. I mean, I would say that's inspirational, going from the thought, the seed of a thought at a beachfront, and 2 years later to be featured in How did you do that? Walk us through the first couple of years. Who did you pitch the idea to? How did you take it from zero to what it is today?
Yeah, 0 to 1. Peter Thiel's famous book, right?
Okay.
0 to 1.
Yeah, Peter.
Peter Thiel, whom Neha refers to, is an American entrepreneur and venture capitalist. He's been a co-founder of PayPal and Palantir Technologies and a key investor in eBay, besides investing in unicorns such as LinkedIn and YouTube through his fund. Peter's book 0 to 1 has gained cult status among entrepreneurs and startup enthusiasts. In it, he condenses advice from the class he taught at Stanford. Advice such as all failed companies are the same. They failed to escape the competition. He advises startups to bet on a contrarian truth that very few people agree on, to dominate a small market and to strive to be a monopoly.
Well, so one was of course a lot of reading. So I decided that I want to get women back to work, but I had no idea how. Yeah. So I did the research about the problem, okay, and the reason why we need to solve this problem. And then I had to figure out how we're going to solve this problem. Okay. Now keep in mind that I myself was coming off a break of 3.5 years. So I was at the lowest low of my own confidence levels. Yeah. I felt that, I'd never studied business before. I had never worked before. I didn't know any of this. Okay. But at that point, all I knew was that I wanted to do this. One thing that really helped me was that I just got out there and started talking to people. So I myself know a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of very successful business people who are either my friends or my husband's friends or my parents' friends. Or I started reaching out to my entire network. And I had this little book I used to carry with me and just write and make notes, and just brainstorm and get ideas on how this can be solved. The second thing that I did was get very strong advisors on board. Yeah. So in fact, even till date, those advisors are part of JobsForHer, very integral part of JobsForHer. And they kind of helped me iron out the details on how to go from 0 to 1. The third thing I did was attend a lot, try to reskill and upskill myself. Okay, and frankly, today in the day of the internet, everything is available at our fingertips, So took up courses on, say, Google Analytics, Steve Blank's methodology of business model instead of business plan. Started attending a lot of workshops. I mean, Bangalore is the startup hub of India for a very good reason, because the kind of ecosystem that we have over here is fantastic. So started attending courses at Microsoft Ventures Accelerator on digital marketing, on just how are other entrepreneurs building out companies. Kept learning, and then finally decided to launch JobsForHer through the lean startup methodology, which is of you first build an MVP, a minimum viable proposition. You use that to experiment and to test your hypothesis and understand what the exact problem is and how you will solve it. Then you expand it.
Wow. So, that going from 0 to 1 to, where are you today?
1 million.
1 million. Wow. Really inspirational. So what would you say to a wannabe entrepreneur who's listening to our podcast, who is maybe not in Bangalore, doesn't have access to a network of entrepreneurs among their friends and family? How do they get started? What are the maybe first basic steps they should undertake to start their venture?
So the most important thing is to get out of the door. Okay? Because of course there's a lot of research you can do online. There's a lot of surveys you could run and, reports you could pull out and everything. Do all of that. Okay? But if you really want to understand the problem, get out of the door. So for example, frequent the places where your target audience would be. So supposing if I were to go back on this journey and if I didn't have this network, what I would do is I would go to a lot of cafes, coffee shops, okay, or I would go outside play schools where a lot of mothers would be when they're dropping the kids and have these conversations with them to understand what is going on. Yeah, I would I would use social media as a platform to reach out to a wide range of audience, to get them and maybe, like in college, you offer free pizza, it would always work. Okay. But to get them to come and network and run actual focus groups with your target audience, instead of reading about it, hear about it from them. Okay. Second is, like tons of courses that are available, tons of platforms through which you can also reach out to mentors, even if you don't have that strong network yourself. Okay. Tons of events that you can go to network with other people. And then when you meet them, you tell them that, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. This is something that I want to start. Do you have 20 minutes that I can come and meet you? Whether you're in Bangalore or anywhere else, okay, most people will not say no. They might not be able to meet you this week, but they might be able to meet you next month.
Next week,
yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you is, one, to actually have the motivation to step out of the door, to go from, just thinking and talking about it to doing something about it.
Exactly.
And the other one is persistence.
Yes.
Right? Grit, I think.
And not holding yourself back. So one thing that women always tend to do is always holding themselves back, always fearing the rejection, fearing somebody saying no. Be very prepared to hear a lot of no's before hearing a yes.
Yeah. But Neha, don't you think that is something we're asking too much of a woman who's been on a break? Like you said, I also have been in that phase where confidence is at an all-time low. Whether you want to be an entrepreneur or whether you want to be an employee, you need that validation from others saying that go for it.
Yeah.
And now having to gear yourself up to ask to face a lot of no's.
Yeah. I know it's very difficult, okay, and which is why it's very important for any woman, especially a woman on a break, but any woman, to surround herself with a positive support system.
Correct.
Yeah. You need to kind of block out all the noise and just surround yourself with positivity, and you will find that positivity. So if you have a supportive husband, supportive in-laws, supportive parents, supportive children, okay, that's great. But even if you don't have that, you can find your support system through your school friends, through your college friends, through other school moms, through your neighbors. But make time to invest in that positive support system, because that's what will help you in battling through those rejections and no's.
How are companies in India supporting this growing tribe of professional women seeking to come back into the workforce?
So it's been a little bit of an uphill battle, okay, but I'm happy to say that we are pretty much at the top of it now.
Okay. Great.
So when I started JobsForHer, I started talking to companies. There was a huge spectrum of companies, and there still is. Yeah. On one side, there were the large multinational companies who really care about diversity in the workplace, because they have realized that diversity is good for the bottom line. Right. Yeah, it brings in diverse capabilities, strengths, perspectives. And they are still working really closely with us to figure out how do we get more and more women to get in the workplace, to retain those women and advance those women to leadership levels.
Sure.
Yeah. Then there are the smaller companies which were very interested in this talent pool, because this represented a talent pool of experienced women.
Correct.
Yeah. In fact, one of the biggest selling points was the fact that these women can join you at no notice period. Yeah. So if you're looking to hire someone, you don't have to wait for the 1 month, 2 month notice period and then have the possibility of that person not showing up on day one. This woman will join you next week.
Correct.
Yeah. Then, of course, there were tons of companies who said that if we don't want to hire women, we don't want to hire women returnees, we don't want to hire mothers. Yeah. I mean, and they, not only did they feel that, but they felt comfortable enough saying that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Official.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Like, that's how we feel. So when we started JobsForHer, we started, I think, with 10, 15 companies on the portal. Okay. Brave companies who said that we are fine with the fact that this woman's taken a break in her career and we were happy to hire them. Today, we have 6,500 plus companies on the portal, and a huge number of them who are actually paying us to be able to hire this candidate pool. Yeah. So there's been a big shift in mindset that we've seen. We're also working with companies who are actually coming up with tailored returnee programs which are only for women on a career break. So if you've not taken a break, you can't even apply for it. Right? Now the thing is that it's very important for us to think about this from a company point of view. Never have we ever told a company that you need to hire women returnees out of CSR reasons or charity reasons or social reasons. Once companies are realizing that, hey, by having more women in the workplace, my company is going to do better in terms of profitability, in terms of innovation, in terms of growth, in terms of serving my women customer base better, that's when you see a big mindset shift in companies. So the main thing that we made women realize was that everything that you had worked on earlier has not gone away. Yeah, your skills don't go away. They're just lying dormant. You've not to use them again. All you need to do is refresh them. Okay. And there are lots of ways that women can refresh their skills. One is, of course, by taking up courses. They can also take up volunteer assignments. For women in tech, it's far more critical, okay, to learn the latest technologies. Again, though, that's easy to do if you're in technology, because you can leapfrog to what the latest technologies are. Even the people who are in the workplace, they need to continually upskill themselves also. Yeah. So same for somebody who's out.
Correct. Very true. Very true. What are the ways in which your content team is building content to reach out to them and get them to connect with you and through you to all the employers out there?
So, like you said, content has been an extremely important part of our journey. Yeah, because we saw it from the perspective of that woman on a break. Because we were all women on a break. Yeah. So we got it. We understood that there's a lot that is required to be able to move from this side of the fence to the other side. Yeah. And the way I said, companies are on a large spectrum, so are women. There are women who are ready to get back. They're just looking for the right opportunity and boom, they'll be there. There are women who want to get back but are very unsure if they can. And then there are women who are toying with the idea of getting back. Yeah. We had to make sure that through content, we can help women through that entire journey, no matter which stage they're at.
Correct.
Yeah. So first and foremost, we always use content that is inspirational and positive. Okay. Because I think, no matter how many views, negative, controversial, slamming content can get you, okay, that's not going to help us achieve our goal of motivating women to get back. Second is, we've always used content, the channels that we've used have always been according to where the women are. So for example, if you see our social media channels, you'll see a lot of work that we do on Facebook, but hardly anything that we do on Twitter. Yeah, so that's just one of the examples where you can see that we hone in on the channels according to where our audience is, not according to where our vanity is. Yeah. And third is where we are using a lot of different media of content as well. Okay, so we have, of course, very informational blogs. We have a lot of social media campaigns that we run. We use video content very effectively. And we are in the process of building out podcasts. Okay. We are constantly reinventing ourselves to make sure that we reach women through all the different channels.
Yes, very effective. All this brings me back to one of the questions I asked you earlier. About flexibility. I was a mentor on one of the first conference, I think.
Right.
And I met a lot of restarters. And this one incident just struck me, even after the thing. So I met this lady who said, I was in HR operations. I've taken a 5-year break. I used to work 9 to 6. I want to go back to HR operations. I want to go home at 6 o'clock and I want to make 65K.
Right.
And this really struck me, because if you don't have flexibility, then we are expecting employers to exhibit a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the people on the other side do that too?
They should, but I think it's baby steps. Yeah. So one, I feel like sometimes you feel that, no, but I can only work these many hours a day.
Correct.
Yeah. Once you actually start working, you realize that actually it's okay. People are managing at home.
There's maybe that panic at the back.
Yeah. In the beginning, you feel like, no, it's not possible. For example, in the beginning, you'll be like, I cannot travel. Yeah, that's a deal breaker for me. But then once when you need to travel and you travel, you realize that, oh, actually it was fine,
Kids were fine.
The kids are fine and my husband stepped up or whatever it is, yeah. And that it's really helping my work that I'm traveling. So I think we'll have to take this one step at a time when it comes to women, okay. We of course constantly work on that psyche of women to be able to take that step, take that leap, when it's required. But I also get it when she needs to ease back into it. Okay, which is why I feel that the returnee internship model is a great model, because during an internship, if you get all the flexibility you want, you're being paid only a stipend, so you're not feeling guilty about it. During those 3 to 6 months, you'll be able to set your systems and processes running at home in such a way that then you'll be able to take that bigger leap at the workplace.
What about skill building, Neha? How does one decide what to do? How to do it, because looking at the e-learning aspects of it, completion rates are as low as 2% nowadays.
Yeah, wow.
So how does one actually select what's good for them? And that is one side, and then I want you to talk about what you guys are doing in that space.
Sure. So I can't stress enough about the importance of reskilling and upskilling. Yeah, especially in today's day and age, where things are changing so rapidly, and technology is not just changing the tech industry, it's changing every industry.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very important that we skill ourselves, and even after getting back to work, we continue to skill ourselves. Okay. Now, with that, as a caveat, there is of course a huge amount of skilling opportunities available over there. And I feel like, that's of course a great thing. Yeah, when you have so much choice, you can find something that is far more custom to your needs. For example, you can choose between an online offering or an offline offering. You can choose between something that is only on the weekends or something which is instructor-led, okay, or something which is self-taught. Yeah, you can choose whether, if it's instructor-led, is it only on the weekends, or can I just do it over a short period of time, full time every day, and finish it off. These are all different ways that you can tailor the program. When it comes to the particular skills also, you can choose the exact level that you need to skill yourself. It doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all kind of a solution anymore, which is always great for the consumer. So even if we sometimes feel a little bogged down by the number of choices there are, it's important to take that time, go through all the options in your space, and choose wisely that program. There are lots of ways you can make that decision. For example, checking on reviews about the program, checking on testimonials, seeing the success rates of people who've taken that program, maybe speaking to some of the students, the past students who've actually enrolled in those programs. All that can help you in making the choice. Now at JobsForHer, what we're trying to do is, and we have about 400 plus reskilling partners on the JobsForHer portal, and we're trying to find a way to curate these programs for women's requirements. Yeah, so for example, when it comes to resume writing, we worked a lot with our partners on how do we handle the career break in the resume so that it becomes a boon and not a bane. Yeah. When it comes to interview training, how do we get women to be able to brag about their achievements? Okay, because that's something that they just are not used to doing. When it comes to, for example, one of our partners, SPJIMR, has started a MBA program for women returnees specifically. You have to be a woman who's on a career break to be able to enroll for that program. Yeah, I think it's time that we get educational institutes and training providers to think from the unique needs and requirements of a women client base, and that's what JobsForHer is trying to do.
We have come up with the resume writing and skill building in that front. We are calling it Urjita. So
of course. In fact, they are very good career kits for Urjita, the platform right now.
So, skill building, I would say I totally agree with everything you're saying, except that, at the end of the day, in addition to all these functional, foundational, everything, all the other skills, the woman has to make that effort.
Yes.
That, you have to take that first step, step out of the door and contact JobsForHer.
Yes. You know what they say, right? Marne ke bina swarg nahi milta hai.
Yeah. So, I know, Neha, that nowadays it's, I hate to use the word, but it's almost sexy nowadays to talk about women returning.
That's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking as a woman myself and, employing so many women and all that, do you think this will last?
I
What
hope,
is
well,
what
actually,
is your reading of the tea leaves?
I'm really hoping that it will become very normal. Yeah, like it will become like commonplace. Of course, she took a break and she's back. What's the big deal? Yeah. Like right now, already I'm seeing it moving in that direction, where it's becoming more commonplace that, so what if she took a break, where the whole interview is not just about why did you take a break, and will you take it again, but it's about like one bullet point in the career journey, So I feel the more that women will get back to work, the more companies will see that, hey, it's working, the more normal it will become. Which is why JobsForHer has moved to its next challenge already, right? Because it's something that we're seeing that when it comes to women returnees, it's running on autopilot. Our next challenge is going to become, how do we get more women at the C level? In the leadership levels. Because frankly, right now with industry averages, at the entry level, you still have 30% women. That drops to 10% at management level and then 1% at leadership levels.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And till we don't get more and more women at the C-suite, you're not going to see the kind of drastic workplace changes that we require if you want the whole women returnee thing and women in the workplace to be a commonplace affair.
It's great to hear about the C-suite challenge that you all have taken up next. So what's next for Neha Beccaria? Are you looking beyond JobsForHer? Are you looking at expanding beyond JobsForHer?
Wow, life beyond JobsForHer. No, like
right
I said,
now, nothing.
No, like I said, it was divided into two parts. Remember, pre-JobsForHer and post-JobsForHer. There's no post.
Post
that.
Maybe you'll add on. Right?
Yeah, no, and we see that.
Is there
frankly,
jobs for him in the future?
I don't know. I have two sons, so I'll let you know if that happens. But frankly, I mean, I feel like I've come down a rabbit hole, because the deeper we go, the more we realize that it needs to be done.
Sure.
If we have 3 big BHAGs in place, our big, hairy, audacious goals. We want to see equal participation of women in the workplace. We want to see equal participation of women in technology. And we want to see equal participation of women in leadership levels. We have a long way to go to achieve that BHAG.
Can you tell us about the blogs you follow and the books you read? Maybe the influencers you follow online. Just talk to us about the content you sort of imbibe.
So my daily mantra, 9 a.m. is to read the broadsheet. Okay, it's a fantastic emailer that hits your inbox every day at 9 a.m. and gives you just exactly what you need to know in terms of what's happening in news in India and in the world.
Okay.
And no surprises, it was started by 2 women. I love that. Of course, for other startup news, I love Your Stories, Buzz that they send out. I love Inc. 42. And otherwise for general, like there's a lot of women's content also out there. Of course, I'm a big follower about the kind of content that Clearly Blue has been putting out. Yeah, it's very inspirational. I also love the stuff that Shenomics covers, on different women's stuff, along with She the People and Women's Web.
Okay. So that's a lot of reading too.
Yeah, I love to read.
Take in
So I love to read. So that's more from some of these are daily versus some are weekly. Yeah. And I'm a very, very avid reader of books, So the current book that I'm reading is Blitzscaling, which is by Reid Hoffman. Yes.
Yeah. Do you listen to his podcast?
His podcast is superb too.
Reid Hoffman, who's known of late for his wildly popular business and finance podcast, Masters of Scale, is a co-founder of professional networking platform LinkedIn and a partner of VC firm Greylock Partners. Beyond his internet billions, Reid has made a mark in speaking and writing. He has hosted people such as Ariana Huffington, Anne Wojcicki, and Gwyneth Paltrow on his podcast. In each episode, Reid shows how companies grow from zero to a gazillion, testing his theories with legendary leaders.
Thank you so much, Neha, for talking to us today.
Of course.
Can we close this with your advice for You have given us advice for women and entrepreneurs. What about the men? How should they be treating the women in the office? How should they be treating the women in their in their ecosystem? And how can they support people getting back into the workplace?
I think my advice for men who are kind of providing that support to women, okay, I think we need to have men to stop being so supportive and start being proud. Yeah. We don't want them to just the whole thing about behind every successful man there's a woman. That whole notion, of course, has to die. Okay, we need women to be successful beside the successful man. Okay, and we need our men and women to support each other and to be proud of one another. Same thing in the office also. Okay, we need men to realize that, hey, everyone's journey is different, and just because she might have taken a different route to come to the same place where you are today, that does not make her by any means unequal to you in terms of the skills that you're bringing to the table. Yeah. So I feel like the way we need to get our men to be able to treat women, give them the same kind of equal treatment that they would give to other colleagues. Okay. And also understand that while we are supporting them through their journey, we need to be proud about their entire achievements. Now, if you think about a woman's achievements, okay, we need to start valuing not just the work experience, but also the life experience that they bring to the table.
Thanks so much for coming on Content Ed.